This time she said she did not want to name Diddy. She said she was afraid that she wouldn't be believed and that later on, the rapper would harm her.
People around Diddy and what everybody knows.
What happened from 8 to 11? And why did all Kim's stuff come up missing?
D-I-D-D-Y. D-E-V-I-L. With exposures, you make yourself vulnerable to all kinds of attacks, seen and unseen. What happened to my friend?
The chilling reality is that putting hits out on people is merely a fraction of Diddy's notorious capabilities. Both Gene and Jaguar have ample reason to feel anxious, especially considering Diddy's troubling history with violence and alleged involvement in murders. A recent expose by Rolling Stone has shed light on this dark side, revealing that just before his untimely death, the legendary Notorious B.I.G., also known as Biggie Smalls, was reportedly contemplating leaving Bad Boy Records. Multiple sources interviewed for the article confirm that Biggie was embroiled in a legal struggle to reclaim his publishing rights, a situation Diddy was adamant about controlling. His infamous declaration, "I will never give it up until I'm dead and my bones are crushed into powder," highlights the lengths he would go to maintain his grip on these rights. Photographer Monique Bunn recounted that Biggie had confided in her about his intentions, stating unequivocally, Biggie was absolutely about to leave Puff. Another insider echoed this, remarking, "Everybody leaves Puffy." This raises a chilling question about Diddy's awareness of the situation. Gene Deal alleges that Diddy had a hand in Biggie's demise, hinting at a deeper betrayal at play. The circumstances surrounding Biggie's last days are disturbing. Some have questioned why he would arrive in Los Angeles shortly after Tupac's assassination, particularly since he was seen recording Long Kiss Goodnight. In the aftermath of Tupac's murder, the sentiment among his peers was clear: if he gathered 100 people in a room, maybe 3 would say it was safe for Biggie to be in LA. At that time, the overwhelming majority would argue that he had no business being there. Critics point out the illogical nature of Diddy renting studio time in LA for Biggie when he had his own recording facility, Daddy's house, back in New York. As the conversation turns, it becomes evident that the atmosphere was charged with paranoia. Pac had just been killed. Biggie couldn't even walk properly. He was in a wheelchair, one insider stated. Why then would Diddy insist on Biggie finishing his album on the West Coast, where tensions were sky high? The motivations behind these decisions are scrutinized closely. Diddy allegedly wanted to distance himself from the escalating tensions between gangs and feuding artists, but he seemingly sacrificed Biggie's safety in pursuit of business interests. The accusation arises that Diddy set Biggie up to be exposed to danger, positioning him where he would be vulnerable. The narrative paints Diddy not as a supportive mentor, but rather as someone who turned a blind eye to the potential risks. The scene outside the party was fraught with anticipation. We lined up parallel to the door they had to exit, one witness explained. Biggie, struggling to move due to his... In March 1997, Biggie was tragically murdered, and the events leading up to that fateful night are haunting. The entourage had attended a Vibe magazine party, and the atmosphere was tense. Initially, 23 people were present, but as the night progressed and the fire department began shutting the party down, half the group left, sensing something was off. Those who remained decided to line up their SUVs to ensure a quick exit for Biggie and Puff as they left the venue.
When he passed away, there was $250,000 on my head and $150,000 on his. But what if I had decided to go back with my head held low?
Injuries took longer than expected to emerge. Meanwhile, Diddy, unusually frantic, kept darting around, distracted by social interactions that seemed out of character for him at such a critical moment. As the remaining entourage prepared to leave, tensions ran high. Puff was running back and forth, grabbing girls, saying, "Yo, Gene, remember her?" This erratic behavior contrasted sharply with the looming sense of danger. The urgency to escape was palpable, yet Diddy appeared oblivious to the gravity of the situation surrounding them. This chaotic scene only underscores the complexity of relationships and the hidden dangers that can lurk beneath the surface of the music industry. The events leading to Biggie's tragic death raise profound questions about loyalty, ambition, and the lengths individuals will go to maintain control, revealing a darker narrative that continues to haunt those who were involved. I'm standing there, gun in hand, leaning against the side of the car. Back then, I weighed about 265 pounds, so I was a bit slimmer than my current 330. Diddy suddenly throws out a warning: "If you don't get in this car, you'll never work for Bad Boy again." I shot back, "How are you going to tell me how to do my job?" He insisted. "Eugene, we don't need that look, just get in the car." As I slid into the vehicle, he adjusted his seat all the way back, forcing me to angle my leg awkwardly. "What the hell are you doing?" I snapped. Kenny, the driver, was fidgeting nervously, and I urged him, "Run the next 3 lights." Kenny, he looked confused and replied, "For what I insisted, just do it. Or I will drive." With a reluctant nod, he sped off, and we zoomed past a flashing red light. But just then, Tone, who was behind us, shouted, "Yo, someone in that parked car is pointing a gun at Big and Diddy." In the emotional fallout after Biggie's tragic death, Diddy's actions seemed chillingly calculated. Former publicity director Laji Brookshire, who had been with Biggie the day before he died, asked for time to grieve, but was met with a stark instruction from Diddy ensure that Biggie's posthumous album, Life After Death, debuted at #1. That urgency felt disconcerting, even for those closest to him. The narrative seemed to be shifting, with opportunistic content creators trying to capitalize on Biggie's legacy. "Look, the ones spreading these lies are the same people who failed to do their jobs when it mattered most," Gene stated, frustration evident in his voice. They're trying to deflect blame from the real issues that surrounded Biggie's case. The controversy didn't end with Biggie's death. A few months later, Rolling Stone approached Bad Boy for a cover story. Kirk Burroughs, the label's co-founder, proposed featuring Biggie, but Diddy was adamant he's dead. I'm putting out my debut album, No Way Out, in July. I need to be on the cover. Consequently, Diddy graced the August 1997 issue, a decision that drew criticism even from Suge Knight of Death Row Records. Knight remarked, when Pac left, I didn't pick up a microphone, I picked up the pieces. The relationship between Diddy and Biggie was complicated, always fraught with tension. Despite Biggie's apparent success on Bad Boy, there were murmurs that he might have been contemplating a departure. Some close to him believed he was grateful for his career, but he never let anyone become complacent. He kept us all under pressure, pushing for bigger and better things, one insider recalled. If he had trusted Sean more, things might have turned out differently, but the trust just wasn't there. Looking back, it became clear that Biggie's warnings and hesitations were overshadowed by a complicated friendship. Once he was gone, everyone suddenly wanted to speak of how close they were, Gene remarked. But when he was alive, it was a different story. He wanted his music to speak volumes, and it was clear he wasn't entirely comfortable with the way things were going. The echo of those sentiments hung in the air, a haunting reminder of the legacies left behind. Biggie had been riding high on the wave of success, and it was clear he relished his fame and the stature it afforded him. Yet, in the midst of his achievements, one could wonder how content he truly was with the life he was living. Would he have wanted to stay in the limelight forever? This uncertainty is echoed in the sentiments expressed by his mother, Valletta Wallace, who recently called for Diddy to be held accountable, signaling that even the closest ties can become fraught with tension. Hey Miss Wallace, it's Jean Deal. I greeted her during a recent conversation. I haven't seen you since that visit to your house. How have you been? Jean Deal recounted troubling rumors regarding who was really responsible for Biggie's murder. He mentioned Captain Shah Muhammad of the Nation of Islam being falsely implicated. They're trying to pin this on him now that he's gone, Jean explained. When he was alive, no one would dare make such accusations. I met Brother Shahid at the Million Man March in '95, and he wasn't the type to be involved in anything like that. Her response was warm yet tinged with the weight of past events. I've been okay, but I've been following you on Facebook, she replied, hinting at the ongoing discussions surrounding Biggie's legacy and Diddy's role in it. Miss Wallace, I'm sorry for everything that's happened. But you know, I have to do what I feel is right, I continued, eager to convey my respect for her perspective. If you had asked me to stop, I would have respected that. But you didn't, so I'll keep doing my thing. She responded graciously, no, Jean. I watch you, and you're doing a good job. Keep it up. Those words meant a lot to me, especially considering the gravity of our discussions surrounding her son's tragic fate. The moment I held Miss Wallace's hand and recounted the details of that fateful night was incredibly emotional. Here I was, trying to explain to a mother how her son had lost his life, knowing full well that I was the intermediary of such painful information. Biggie had wanted to reach out to her, and in a poignant twist, I had been muted during that critical moment. Yet he managed to communicate through me, saying, Yo, Miss Wallace, I got Jean on the line. She wants to talk to you. When she expressed that she had been following my work online, chills ran down my spine. It was a humbling acknowledgement, reminding me of my own beginnings and the responsibilities I carried as a storyteller. During our conversation, I made it clear to her that I respected her deeply. If you ever want me to stop discussing Puff, I will. Just say the word, I reassured her. But she insisted I continue my work, affirming that she trusted my judgment. I appreciate you and what you do, she said, a moment I won't soon forget. The backdrop of all this was a whirlwind of controversy surrounding Diddy, including over 100 allegations against him. One particular clip circulating on TikTok showcases Diddy reflecting on the infamous East Coast-West Coast feud that marked a dark chapter in hip-hop history. In it, he recalls a pivotal conversation with Biggie after Tupac Shakur released the searing diss track hit "M Up." Diddy recognized the perilous nature of their rivalry and chose to advise against escalating tensions further. If we respond, he cautioned, somebody's going to get hurt. Yet, the tension only heightened with Tupac's inflammatory lyrics aimed at both Biggie and Diddy. They often found themselves in situations where they had to intervene when the track played at parties, taking over the DJ's turntable to prevent it from blasting through the speakers. Now, amid fresh revelations, rumors swirl that Tupac's family might pursue a wrongful death lawsuit against Diddy. This speculation intensified after claims emerged that Diddy allegedly offered $1 million for Tupac's murder, a shocking assertion from Dwayne Keith Davis, a former gang leader charged in Tupac's assassination. Jean Deal has openly voiced suspicions about Diddy's peculiar fixation with Tupac, suggesting that it could have played a part in the tragic shooting. Everyone knew that Puff took Tupac's blueprint and remade it into Biggie and Bad Boy's image, he stated, illuminating the intricate web of admiration and rivalry that characterized their relationship. Puff wanted to embody the persona Tupac projected: glamorous, charismatic, and unapologetically confident. The parallels didn't stop there. Diddy's obsession extended to his personal life, with hints that his romantic pursuits mirrored those of Tupac. This included relationships with women who had previously been involved with the West Coast icon. The narrative of obsession continued to unfold, suggesting that Diddy's desire to emulate and even surpass Tupac may have driven him in both his career and personal choices. Currently, Diddy faces serious allegations, including a shocking lawsuit from an unnamed woman who claims he assaulted her in 2018. The legal document paints a harrowing picture of events, including accusations of a violent encounter that stemmed from a FaceTime call regarding Tupac's death. The woman alleges that during the attack, Diddy threatened her life, asserting that her fate was in his hands. As the layers of this story continue to unfold, the world watches closely. The complex interplay of friendship, rivalry, and tragedy within the hip-hop community remains a poignant reminder of the fragile nature of life, fame, and the legacies we leave behind. The echoes of Biggie's talent, the shadows of Tupac's influence, and the tangled web of relationships serve as a backdrop to a narrative that is still very much alive and resonant today. After a reportedly shocking encounter, Diddy allegedly expressed disbelief at a woman's ability to leave the situation, subsequently offering her money to claim the incident was consensual. The woman rejected his offer, stating her intention to report the incident. This decision led to a series of intimidation tactics directed at her family, as outlined in a lawsuit claiming that one of Diddy's associates even showcased a live stream of her sister's home as a means of intimidation. This raises the question, was she treated like a credible victim of sexual assault or dismissed as someone unworthy of belief? The accuser is seeking a staggering $50 million in damages from Diddy and his associates, and the troubling revelations surrounding these allegations seem to only intensify. In addition to these claims, a new lawsuit has surfaced, alleging that a professional athlete intervened to prevent Diddy from allegedly sexually assaulting a luxury car businessman during one of his star-studded parties. This suit is part of a growing list of civil actions against Diddy filed in the Southern District of New York. Among the more disturbing allegations is one stating that Diddy assaulted a 13-year-old girl at a VMA afterparty in September 2000, with two notable celebrities present during the incident. Senior investigative correspondent Aaron Kalai has reported on these escalating legal troubles. This latest wave of lawsuits accuses Sean Combs of drugging and sexually assaulting 7 more alleged victims, including one who was just 13 years old at the time. The lawsuit recounts that Diddy attended the VMAs with his then-girlfriend, Jennifer Lopez, and that his driver invited the young girl to an after-party, suggesting that Diddy had a preference for younger women. Once at the party, the teen reportedly accepted a drink and began to feel dizzy and disoriented. Allegedly, she was then assaulted by a male identified as Celebrity A while Diddy, and another female celebrity, referred to as Celebrity B, looked on. These claims come shortly after Diddy's legal team requested a Manhattan federal judge to unveil the identities of the increasing number of accusers, a move that has been met with significant public scrutiny. Adding to the complicated web surrounding Diddy, music executive L.A. Reid, who stepped down as CEO of Epic Records in 2017 following sexual harassment allegations, shares a close connection with Diddy, particularly through their mutual association with Usher. Reid's downfall came at a time when Diddy was also facing increased scrutiny, further complicating the narrative. In a troubling twist, Jay-Z, a prominent figure in hip-hop who rose alongside Diddy in the 1990s, has not faced any allegations himself. However, Jaguar Wright has made incendiary claims, labeling him a horrendous human being in league with Diddy. She insists that both figures should be held accountable for their alleged misdeeds. Wright has alleged that there are numerous individuals trapped in a cycle of exploitation, potentially at risk if they come forward with their experiences. Ken Lyles, a veteran music executive with ties to stars like Mariah Carey and Megan Thee Stallion, has also stepped down from his position as CEO of Warner Music's 300 Elektra Entertainment amid these allegations, although he has not been directly implicated in Diddy's legal troubles. Moreover, Suge Knight, the notorious founder of Death Row Records currently serving a lengthy prison sentence, has voiced his perspective on Diddy's legal issues. In a recent interview, Knight accused Diddy of learning exploitative practices from older industry figures, and then passing these behaviors onto younger artists. As this tumultuous narrative unfolds, it's essential to remember the larger implications of these allegations. The music industry has long been shadowed by accusations of abuse and misconduct, with figures like Russell Simmons, who has faced numerous sexual assault claims, and Andre Harrell, whose death in 2020 was a significant loss to Diddy's career trajectory. A pivotal figure in this unfolding saga is Kim Porter, Diddy's former partner, who led a troubled life that has come under renewed scrutiny. Recent revelations suggest that her final hours were marked by significant irregularities, including the presence of Dallas Austin's daughter, who was reportedly the last person to see Kim alive before her tragic death. This information has sparked calls for a re-examination of the circumstances surrounding her passing, particularly given that reports indicated she was found with bruises and missing belongings. There are many suspicious circumstances surrounding this case. In today's world, it's rare for a woman to leave her house without her phone, especially when she has a variety of purses to choose from. Yet here we are, still in the dark about the whereabouts of Kim Porter's phone. Considering she had an iPhone, why hasn't anyone accessed her cloud storage to retrieve her text messages and other data? Everything received on her phone would be documented there. With features like Find My iPhone, one would think someone would have attempted to locate it by now. It would be insightful for her son, who has every right to do so, to access the cloud and uncover vital information like her last messages, calls, and the last known location of her phone before it was disabled. Recently, there have been reports indicating that the federal authorities might finally reopen her case due to new evidence.